A few weeks ago, Nissan launched the all-new Almera, and I was able to do a walk-around video of it. And based on looks and features alone, I think it really raised the bar for the subcompact class. But the question is it the best subcompact available in the market today? Well, there's no better way to find out than to take it out on the road and drive it. Not too long ago, subcompact sedans were merely budget-friendly automobiles that were designed to get you from point A to point B. But in this day and age, considering how much they've evolved, I think it's safe to say that they've come a long way because you now get features in them that you won't normally expect in vehicles within this price point. And the Nissan Almera is no different because compared to subcompact sedans of yesteryear, this interior space feels vastly premium. Yes, there are hard plastics here and there, but you get soft touch leather on the dash and contrast stitching. And those things were unheard of back in the day. And one glance at this interior will tell you that this has a lot of tech to offer. And that's a lot to ask for something that's merely meant to get you from point A to point B. But regardless of which price bracket a car falls under, one thing that should never be compromised is good design. And in that regard, the Nissan Almera really delivers because the ergonomics are really good. The driving position is really comfortable and you have a nice commanding view of your surroundings. The dash sits low, and the fact that this is a tilt and telescopic steering wheel means that you can really find the best driving position possible. These seats are also zero gravity seats, according to Nissan, and it's not just some marketing gimmick because they really do feel very comfortable. And the good visibility really takes a lot of the fatigue out of driving. And it's not just about slapping on a bunch of features to make the car enticing for people. Again, good design always has to prevail. For instance, this has automatic climate control and an 8-inch touchscreen. But more than that, it's really easy to use. The AC is really easy to operate. You get physical knobs and buttons for both the AC and your audio controls. So you can operate everything here without taking your eyes off the road. My only gripe is it doesn't have Android Auto, but it does have Apple CarPlay. And what really comes as an unexpected surprise is the fact that this comes standard with Nissan Intelligent Mobility. So with that, you get a 360-degree view camera. And despite this car having already really good visibility, that still comes in handy when you're parking in really tight spaces. But aside from the around view monitor, the Nissan Intelligent Mobility package also comes with really neat features like intelligent forward collision warning, intelligent emergency braking, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, and hill start assist. And for this segment, that's really taking it to the next level. So under the hood, this comes with a 1-liter, 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, which puts out around 99 horsepower and 152 Newton meters of torque. It's also mated to a CVT, or a continuously variable transmission. And on paper, there's really not much to get excited about. But once you get behind the wheel of this thing, and you floor the accelerator, it's a totally different story. This definitely exceeds my expectations because the power delivery is instantaneous. Now, this is a CVT, but it actually doesn't feel like one because, again, the moment you put your foot down, the car is more than happy to oblige by giving you the power that you need. So it really mitigates that droning effect, which is inherent in almost all CVTs. So I guess the best way to mitigate that droning effect is a lot of low-end torque. And in that regard, this car really delivers. So as it is, power delivery is already very good. That turbo does a phenomenal job in hiding the fact that this has a 1-liter engine, or a CVT for that matter. But here's an Easter egg for you, in case you want to squeeze a bit more juice out of that 1-liter engine. On the gear selector, there's this button, and when you press that, it engages sport mode. And that makes the throttle response even snappier. And it's really weird how they didn't even label it. So I guess it really pays to read the owner's manual or at least play around with everything. I'm really surprised by how well this car puts the power down. But again, this is a subcompact car and it's not always about the power or a sporty drive. More importantly, this car has to be comfortable and it has to make driving as a daily chore as easy as possible. And it also delivers in that aspect because this may have a torsion beam suspension at the back, but the ride is actually fairly compliant. Now, it's not a luxury car ride experience, but it is never jarring. You do feel the torsion beam at the back, there is a bit of flexing, and there is some body roll around the bends, but for the most part, it is more than adequate. Now, since we're on the topic of comfort, I also want to talk about NVH, or how well this car suppresses noise, vibration, and harshness. And again, it does a fairly good job. It really isolates all the noise outside. You do hear a bit of the engine and the tire noise, but overall, it's a pleasant experience. One thing that got me by surprise is the fact that this three-cylinder engine is very refined. A lot of three-cylinder engines are kind of rattly, and that's normal because it's not exactly balanced, because three is an odd number. But in the Almera, it feels so refined. You'll hardly be able to tell that it's a three-cylinder under that hood. Now, this also has a start-stop function, which really helps you optimize fuel efficiency. Again, this can get over 23.3 kilometers per liter out on the highway. That's the claimed fuel efficiency. And what really helps you achieve that is the start-stop function. Now, a lot of folks who have access to such a feature usually turn it off because it can get quite annoying, especially in stop-and-go traffic. But with the Almera, it isn't that annoying. I mean, you can feel it start and stop, but again, it isn't much of a nuisance. Personally, I've always been inclined to just keep that thing off. But considering how high our gas prices are these days, it's really a good idea to just keep it on. And again, it isn't that bothersome. At least not as much as our gas prices. Now, one thing I want to talk about is this car's steering. And in a nutshell, it is extremely light. In fact, it's a bit too light for my taste because I prefer to have an engaging drive. And I do appreciate feeling a little bit of feedback through the wheel. I'd like to know where my wheels are pointing. And this feels kind of vague, especially on center feel. You hardly tell if the wheels are pointing in the right direction. But a lot of people will actually appreciate it for how light it is. Because again, it just makes the drive all the more convenient. And not everyone's about handling or an engaging drive or a visceral driving experience for that matter. I think 90%, if not 99% of the people who are out in the market for a subcompact sedan will prefer to have a lighter steering wheel. And that's exactly what you get here. And despite the fact that it does feel light, the important thing is it doesn't feel lazy because it's still fairly responsive to your steering inputs. And the steering ratio also leads to lessening driver fatigue aside from how light the steering feels. Because you can have a light steering, but if the steering ratio is so slow, it'll still require a lot of inputs from the driver. And here it's tuned quite nicely. So minimal inputs are required, minimal steering inputs are required before you feel the car turning. Overall, this is a really great package. Nissan definitely has a winner on their hands here. But I also want to talk about how this compares to the other choices you have in the subcompact category. And let's start off with the Toyota Vios. So the Toyota Vios is a great all-rounder. It does everything well, but it really doesn't excel much at a certain aspect, except for the fact that it comes with a reputation of being reliable and easy to maintain. Next, we have the Mazda 2, and that delivers the best driving dynamics in the segment because of its steering feel and also the fact that it has a conventional automatic transmission, which is tuned so nicely. It doesn't auto upshift, and it provides the most engagement. However, it does suffer in terms of practicality because it's not as spacious as what you get here. Then you have the Honda City, which I think is this car's closest competitor. They're both the freshest looking automobiles in the segment. They both come with a CVT, but the main difference is that one is naturally aspirated while this is turbocharged. Now, in terms of driving feel, that has a bit more engagement in terms of steering feel. But again, if you're going to use this as a daily driver, a lot of you will prefer how light the steering is in here. But more importantly, the power delivery on this is just way better. The CVT here feels more responsive. And you get that response in the low end of the rev range, which makes the power even more usable. So this feels a lot lighter than that to drive. And that translates to a really good driving experience. Again, this is the kind of car that you can take out every day and you won't feel exhausted. And that's really what the primary function of a subcompact automobile is. So when you take everything into consideration, features, value for money, practicality, fuel efficiency, and driving dynamics, I think this offers the best package. So in that regard, I think I can truly say that this is currently the best subcompact sedan out there. Thanks for watching.